Hey friends, so welcome to my very first video on this thing. It's not even like on a channel or anything, so welcome. I look kind of different because I go to the gym in the morning, I come straight home and I get to work. And then also I work in my home. So it's very messy behind me and my kitchen is over there. So you are walking into my home. Welcome. In my last blog post, I did a quick tip about getting started with your wedding invitations because a lot of people just got engaged. So I wanted to give you like a little bit of a head start on to start thinking about your wedding invitations, your stationery, your save the dates, everything. And now we're going to dive in a little bit more. So each video we're going to talk about something else. The first video today we're going to talk about paper and your invitation elements. So first up is paper. There are so many options when it comes to paper, and it will be kind of hard to tell the colors in this video. So if you ever have a question, I can just shoot me an email. I'll send you a photo of the paper, or you can meet in person so you can see the paper face to face. The lighting in different rooms also affects the color of the paper, but we're jumping in. Okay, so the excuse me. The most typical color of paper that brides go with is going to be pearl. So this invitation was printed on pearl paper. I have only printed on pearl paper for real brides. And I personally love it. Like, I think it's the perfect off-white. It's not too yellow. It's not too white. It's literally perfect. Okay, so here's an example of the paper. So here's the pearl, which is going to be the off-white. This is a fluorescent white, so it's going to be bright white. You can kind of see a difference here, but it's not going to be too terribly noticeable, especially in this light that we have right now. And then this one is going to be ecru, and ecru is obviously way different. It has a lot more yellow in it, and I would say you should go with ecru if you have a more vintage look. But even if you don't have a vintage look, if you just love ecru, do it. It's your wedding. Bright white, I see more with modern invitations, and then pearl is just very standard, but not in a bad way. It's just very standard in a great way, because it's so universal. Another option you can go with is handmade paper. So this is an example of an invitation that I printed on handmade paper. So the blue is not typically on the paper. I added that on for this bride, but it's this color usually. So it's very similar to the pearl paper, from this guy. It's an off-white, but this paper comes in so many different options. You can get this handmade paper from different companies. You could get like blush, you could get gray, you can get like a tan. There's so many options. You can even decide on the edge. So like this one has a very deckled edge, and deckled means that it looks rough like this, almost hand torn. So you can get some that aren't as rough, or you can get some that are very rough, however you like it. Okay, moving on from paper options. And if none of those like tickles your fancy, we can always look at some other options. Like I said, there are so many different papers out there. I've used a blush paper. You can do black paper, which would be a little difficult, but we could do it. We could make it work. Okay, now we're going to dive into invitations and the layout. So I chose these two because they are very different, very similar. One's very formal and one is not so formal. So let's get into using this one first. So you're not going to be able to see all the detail, which kind of sucks, but there's a blind deboss up here, which means there's no ink, and that's just like a little extra thing I want to tell you. But it's going to be very easy to see the information on this invitation, because it is printed in black. So that's pretty much why I chose it for this video. Okay, so this whole half top section is going to be the easiest part for you to figure out. It is literally names. Your names, your parents' names. So I think you got that under control, right? This part is going to be a little bit customizable. So you can put your parents' names. You can spell out And you can do an ampersand for Mr. and Mrs. You can put your dad's full name. You could put your mom and dad's names. So that is still a little bit customizable. Or if you don't want to put your parents' names at all, because that would be if they are paying for the wedding and they're sending you off. If you don't want to put their names because you and your fiance are paying for the wedding, then you put together with our families or together with our parents or nothing. It's totally up to you. Again, it's your invitation, so you do you, okay? Okay, so the second part, if you do add your parents' names, is usually request the honor of your presence. But let's say your parents like really want to get you out of the house or like get you off their bills, then they could put like joyfully, cheerfully, happily request the honor of your presence. Totally up to them. Or if they're just like really happy, they can add that in. So then the next part that some of my brides do, and then some of them are like, no, is the you in honor. So putting a you in honor makes it very, very formal. And this bride did not do it, but other brides have. And you know what? Either way, again, as your invitation. Moving on. So your name and your fiance's name is the next part. If your parents are giving you away, you don't put, and you're the bride. I'm talking to you as if you're the bride. If your parents are giving you away, then you don't put your last name because it's already up here with your parents. So you just put your first and middle. Then for your groom, you usually put his full name, or you can even put Mr. in front of it. And then if he's a junior or a second or a third or, a 11th, you can put that at the end here. And if it's a junior, you can either spell it out or just do JR. Again, your preference. Spelling out junior would be the most formal. Okay, moving on again. This section here, like all of this lower half is going to be, excuse me, this lower half right here, I'm back, is going to be the most customizable piece of your invitation. In my opinion, wording wise. So this bride and groom decided to spell out their date, which is very common on traditional wedding invitations. Even if it's not a traditional invitation, you sometimes still see it spelled out, which I think is very nice. It's kind of a different take on a date. I like it a lot to have it spelled out, but you don't have to. These guys did not spell it out. But they still wrote Saturday and then the date. They just did not spell out the actual day and the year. So we're going to go back to this, guys. So you can spell it out. You don't have to. And then with the time, you can add an o'clock in the afternoon, in the evening. One bride of mine got married at 12. And so it said at high noon, which so fancy. I called her my fancy bride, and she's amazing, and that wedding was gorgeous, just so you know. So there are many different options when it comes to time and the date. I had one bride, too, that even did not put o'clock or afternoon. It just said at 4. So, whatever you want. Okay, next is going to be the venue and the reception location. This venue and reception location was at the same place. If you do not have them at the same place, and you need to add on 2 addresses or 2 locations, it's going to take up room on your invitation. So just be prepared. Your invitation will be a little bit more wordy, which is totally fine. If you want it to look less wordy, just speak with your designer about that, and whoever it is can work around with that as much as possible. But this wedding invitation, they had a lot of out-of-town guests, and so they added the address of the venue location, which I suggest doing. If you don't want to do it, just make sure you have a wedding website or a details card and let people know that they need to go there for more information. They have to know where they're going because it's like your wedding, so this is the main event, not the invitation of the wedding. Okay, so like I said, they put the address on there, and then they have the city and state. And so if you don't do the address, you can definitely still do the city and state. And then, since they have the same exact venue and reception location, they just put formal reception to follow. So to me, that means they are having a seated meal, which they are. But you could do dinner and dancing to follow, dinner and merriment to follow, just reception immediately following. Anything your little heart desires will be fine. Just make sure it goes with the flow of your invitation. So if you're very formal, make sure that the reception to follow line is still pretty formal. And then, last but not least, if you are doing black tie, make sure you highlight somehow or you have it noted on your invitation that is black tie or black tie optional. So their black tie optional is here, and you can't see it really, but there is a blind deboss border, excuse me, coming down to like meet in the middle here. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so there's like a little rectangle, and so we wanted to make sure that was kind of highlighted, so their guests knew how to dress for their wedding. So I don't know if you can hear my dog whining in the background, but he's back there. Anyway, that was a super quick recap or walkthrough of paper and your invitation wording and layout elements. But if you ever have any questions about your invitations or paper or anything about life, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here for you. I want to help you get your invitations as perfect as possible, or even your save the dates. Save the dates wording is a lot easier and simpler than invitations, but it can be a lot more fun. You can have a lot more fun with it, and it can be very customized to you guys. So any kind of wording, reach out to me. I'm here for you. But until then, until the next video, I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye!